so stoked to introduce this woman. She is a dear friend of mine, a lovely and talented human being, Israeli-born, Philly-bred. You've seen her. She's a writer, she's an actress, she's a documentarian. She's been on ABC's Mixology, and my favorite of all of her performances, you can see her on a national J-Day commercial where she makes matzo balls. Ladies and gentlemen, Becky Tahel Bordeaux.
Yeah! To be or not to be too Jewy? That was my question. How much was too much and what was enough? I was born in Haifa and bred in Philly. By bat mitzvah age, I was living in the rich suburbs of the main line, solely because Ima got a teaching job at the local Jewish day school, and not because our wealth of Israeli shekels translated into dollar bills. What we lacked for in wealth, we made up for in spicy, affectionate, tough love. For an immigrant, all I wanted was to fit in. And luckily, my very jappy neighborhood, can I say that? Whoops, I did, was a great breeding ground for bat mitzvahing. It wasn't only expected, it was desired. If you weren't Jewish, you wished you were by middle school. To be too Jewy was cool. I finally had some culturally shared currency with the other kids. But my Israeliness tugged at my Abercrombie shirt, whispering, "A Jew? You're a Hebrew, an Israelite, born in the homeland. You're not Nebuchadnezzar or Woody Allen. You're tough, sexy, Uzis, camo, come on." The anxiety around calling myself a Jew was born early and lives on. But let me rewind the My First Sony mixtape real quick. 1992, the Persian Gulf War, an overbearing smell of gas mask, and my 3-year-old baby sister scratching to get out of that bubble-shaped thing that would keep the noxious gases out of her lungs should chemical warfare strike. Ima panicked as Abba stretched duct tape across the windows and door frames. We soon ran away, like rebellious teens, into my aunt's basement in Northeast Philadelphia. I changed my newborn cousin's diapers that year. I was but 7, and I loved being an alien, according to my green card. A title I coveted because it justified my struggle to synthesize my dueling identities. Chetzi, half-half. Half Moroccan, half Russian, half Ashkenazi, half Sephardic, half American, half Israeli. Would half ever be enough? I changed my name in 4th grade to Becky from Tahel, battling to fit in. I jumped to soothe the vulnerability of being the other with this people-pleasing malleability. As I joined in collecting pogs and beanie babies, I also amassed a false sense of should-bes and must-dos. My family had grown less observant, no longer keeping kosher. Assimilation trumped preservation. My bat mitzvah was a beautiful comma in the run-on sentence that was becoming my fight to survive. I never felt so whole as I did that August day, up on the bima with my family beside me. That was actually the last time we all stood so closely and peacefully together. At 9, my parents divorced, adding yet another half-half concoction. Half the weekends with Abba, half with Ima. My bat mitzvah, though, allowed us to unite for something bigger. At the Torah, reading from the scrolls of my ancestors, I felt illuminated. And for the first time in a long time, I felt whole. I never felt so right using my birth name Tahel, because it simply felt wrong using any other combination of letters but Taf He Lamed. My Hebrew name means to bring light, much like those taper candles I lit at my low-key bat mitzvah luncheon, dedicating the flames to those who shaped my challenging foray into womanhood. An astrologer once told me that my childhood was like an underwatered plant, that my soul chose to be, for lack of a better example, this succulent, because doing so would assist me in eventually blossoming into the flower I was meant to be. I confess that I haven't been so holy since my entry into womanhood. So sorry, Rabbi Cooper. I've been slowly digesting the heaping mouthfuls of various cuisines I've shoved down my throat from this buffet of life. I was once ashamed of my lack of boundaries amongst the food groups in my plate, but I've grown proud of my healthy appetite. I'm in process. And for me, that means tasting the many flavors, unsure about my preference, often ending up with a stomachache, all the while mustering up the digestive enzyme of certainty, a deep knowing that I'll eventually arrive at what's tastiest for me. And it's these weeks leading up to Rosh Hashanah that are about reflecting, reconnecting, and revealing some of the not so great things about my past in order to move forward. And so I thank all of you for being the witnesses of a very public case of teshuvah. This sort of deep and public connection is terrifying for me. As a kid, I would thrive off the harsh moments of disconnection from my loved ones. I would tell myself, okay, cool, you're mad at me, Mom, you're mad at me, Dad. That makes it way easier if you were to die. What? What a crazy notion! My hard exterior was hiding the deep soulful love I was so desperately seeking, yet equally terrified to find. But that was then. My 12-year-old skirt suit-clad self said all the right words, struggling with all the halves that never made her whole. Yet today, my 30-year-old woman self trades the artifice for the challenging plight for deeper self-actualization, embracing all of my puzzle pieces, pretty or not, as I relish in this process of putting them together into an unknown final image, because I was never given the box with that master plan. The timing of my rebar, or might I say rebat, can we pitch that? Couldn't be more magical. I'll tell you why. It's in this year that I've connected to my Jewishness deeper than before with my own documentary on intermarriage. Yeah. I'm jumping in an RV across the country on a road trip to my sister's interfaith wedding to see how other folks synthesize loyalty to family and culture with marrying who they love. I've somehow found myself standing before this complex debate. On one side stands the inclusiveness of love conquers all, marry whoever you want. And somewhere across the spectrum of anything but black and white controversy about intermarriage is the deep-seated fear of the disappearance of the Jewish people, which scares the shit out of me. I don't know, I feel a deep-seated responsibility to an ancestry I'm so connected to. My only living grandparent is a Holocaust survivor. My family continues to fight for the preservation of a tiny piece of land and a culture that runs deeper than I can conceive of. I feel a duty to positively represent the living, the dead, and the yet-to-be-born people of the tribe I was born into. I kind of want to make Jew cool again. But truth be told, Jewy, Israeliness, it's all the same, it's just a label. The stuff inside the packaging is what's of utmost importance to me. Jewy, for me, means sparking the big questions, igniting conversation, and illuminating communal experiences, candle references mainly. All the while sharing my eternal flame to any human grappling with life's prompts. We're not all the same. I don't think we were meant to be. But what we can find to unite us is the human dignity to accept each other despite our differences. It is in the blending that we create this really magical wholeness, and I'm so honored to be here amongst this beautiful whole to shine my light brighter than I could have ever imagined, realizing that I am Jewy enough. I'm Jewy in exactly the way I am meant to be. L'chaim. With my